Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the People's Coach Podcast. I'm Angelo, I'm your host. And before we get this started, I want to reach out to all my entrepreneurs, my creatives, my leaders out there who are struggling to develop their personal brand. Listen, I've been there. I'm still going through my evolutions, and I would love to be part of your story and help you out in any way that I can. So if that's you, if you're looking to develop your personal brand, send me an email at angelolilac.com. That's info, I forgot that part, sorry, info at angelolilac.com. Send me an email at info at angelolilac.com, and I would love to set up some time and help you out in any way that I can. So let's jump into this episode and let's get to it.
Maybe you're thinking, it's too late for change. You're already established and life is good, but it's definitely not great. Welcome to The People's Coach, your guide to living with more purpose and fulfillment. This is how life optimization should be. Brought to you by our host, Angelo Lilac.
All right, guys. So my whole point with this People's Coach podcast is I wanted to do something different. I know one of the things that I saw consistently with clients and people who would reach out was I would see that they would take in all this content, but none of it was being applied, right? So every Monday when we release a new podcast episode for the People's Coach, I don't want you guys to just get inspired or feel good. That's great and all, but that's not enough. One of the reasons why I became the People's Coach, or why I earned that title from my clients, is because I really had a heart for people. And one thing I understood about people was we don't like to be uncomfortable. We like to think we know all the answers, so we don't like to go back and challenge that thinking, right? And part of this is going back and actually applying the lessons you're learning from these podcasts. So I want to take these episodes and I'm going to do them every so often, so we can go back, slow down, give yourself an opportunity to catch up on any episodes if you didn't catch up yet, but more importantly, slow down and actually apply some of these concepts. Okay, so I was having a conversation this week with a client, and we were talking about how sometimes the areas in our life where we feel the most secure in, where we feel the most certainty in, are actually the areas in our life where we need the most work in. Does that make sense? Sometimes we're like, I know I'm this, I know I'm that, I'm going to protect myself in this bubble because I already know that. Don't touch that. You can touch everything else but that. Where, truth be told, that's probably the area we need to find the most focus in. But we're too limited in our own thinking to allow that because we think we're all good there. Make sense? Hopefully that's making sense. And you're probably thinking right now, okay, what areas of my life do I think I'm 100% in? But really, I need more work in that. I need to put more focus in this. And some of you aren't going to get this just yet, because if you're anything like me, I'm a huge doubter. I question a lot. I question everything. And maybe it's because of my previous career as a cop. I'm always questioning, looking for the clues, looking for the evidence. And if it doesn't make sense, then it must be wrong. And this was one of those things where I would hear stuff like this and it would never be applied until I started to do the deeper inner work. And I started to expand my thinking, expand these possibilities beyond my own knowledge, right? And this is a solid truth that I'm living right now. All those ideas and labels and understandings that I had put upon myself because I thought I knew who I was, came crashing down when the world took away my titles, took away my successes, right? And I use this a lot on my Instagram and even on previous podcasts. My whole identity as a warrior. I thought I was set. I thought I'm all good in this part of my life. Everything else I can work on. This part is good. Where in truth, that identity was actually what led to my downfall. My identity of being a warrior, of that title of being a police officer, the moment that was taken away, I was screwed. I didn't know who I was, what the heck I was meant to do, what was next for me. And this is something I want to teach you guys. I want to take some time to slow down a little bit and take some lessons away from Jaywalk, from Tim, from Rhino, the last 3 episodes that were just part of our launch. And here's the beautiful thing, if you guys didn't catch this. They all have different backgrounds. They come from different industries, different specialties. Yet, the core of their message is the same. The core of their journey is very similar. They're in this process to find success, to find greatness, whatever that looks like for them, not for other people. We go back to Jaywalk. Jaywalk talks about becoming pro, going pro, becoming a professional. A lot of people thought that he was talking about just being a professional athlete, but there was so much more to those first 3 letters, PRO. And Jaywalk does a great job of explaining what that meant to him. And yeah, he even says he hasn't gone pro yet. And I love that part because he has such a high level of self-awareness to know like, hey, my work is not done. I am still developing. I am still growing. I think that's when, again, it wraps back to what I was talking about in the beginning. We don't let ourselves grow because we think we're already a certain part of our life is already grown, so we don't need to touch that. But like Jaywalk was saying, he's not even there yet. And this is a man who has a high level of self-awareness, who's done a ton of inner work, and even he says he still has a lot of work to do. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for me? What does that mean for us? What other areas of our life do we need to humble ourselves and like, you know what? Maybe I don't know everything in this area yet. Maybe I've been closing myself off and preventing myself from growing because I keep acting like I know everything when in reality, I don't. Then we go and we move on to episode number 2 with Tim, re-identifying or actually revolutionizing, I should say, our identity. And one thing I love about Tim is you listen to his story, and if you guys have seen his Instagram, he's out there, and that's he's just unapologetically him. When you think about a lawyer, when you think about like a lawyer, an attorney, you're thinking, slick back hair, suit and tie, really dressed to the nines type of thing. But then you look at Tim, which is hilarious, where he's just being himself. He's being unapologetically him. He's enjoying life, wearing like a bedazzled hat and a bedazzled jacket, and he's rocking that thing. And he's not concerned about what everyone else is thinking because he's doing him. He's not living his life to please other people. He's not living his life to make other people like him or try to build a brand that tries to please everybody, because that's not what it is. That's not what life is about. And then you go into Rhino's story. And one of the things I really enjoyed about that episode was his ability to describe your lifestyle as a craft, which was truthfully the first time I've ever heard anyone describe that. And I've been in this personal development thing for a long time, and I've never heard anyone describe their lifestyle, creating and crafting their lifestyle as if that was a craft in itself, building your lifestyle as if that itself was a craft. And when he said that live, when we were doing the podcast, my mind was just blown because I'm like, wow, there's a lot of depth in that. We treat our goals with this type of direction, with this type of structure. But do we treat our lives like that? The way we balance our work goals and our family goals and our personal goals. And the word balance, I know it has like this negative connotation, especially in the personal development industry, but Rhino did such a great job. And actually, I look at all 3 of them did such a great job of explaining their meaning of balance. What does that look like for you? Not what the world says balance should be. Because the world will tell you, you have to work 9 to 5. And ideally, you would have a home, you would have, kids, and you would have a 401k, and you would live in the suburbs and this, white picket fence neighborhood. Like, that's what the world tells you what your life should look like. But in reality, that's not what it looks like, right? Maybe some people outwardly, yes, but inside we're all struggling with a different battle. And I believe that battle comes from living an imbalanced life where our purpose, our goals, our bigger meaning isn't being fulfilled. If you guys are a client, even previous clients, I teach them this concept called F it, right? My last podcast was called the Just F It podcast, and it was based on this concept that I teach my clients with faith, family, fitness, and freedom. And yes, it does sound just like the cuss word. That's part of it, right? And I believe that faith, family, fitness, and freedom, when you have a life that has faith, family, fitness, and freedom, that's how you can live a full life. Now, some people will listen to this and be like, faith? Well, I'm not a religious person, Angela. What are you talking about? And that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm talking about faith as in believing in something and someone greater than you. Does that make sense? A lot of people will automatically connect it to a religious thing. And yeah, of course, like I'm a believer. I talk about it all the time. But I like to introduce people into, and I like to expand their thinking into believing in someone or something greater than themselves. Family, right? People that, and I'm not just talking about blood. I'm talking about the support system, the people who you surround yourself with, community, right? And then the third one is fitness. How well are you disciplining your body? Because I believe the way to have a powerful start to the morning is to get your body moving. And I'm not saying you got to CrossFit or you got to be a bodybuilder or you got to run 10 miles a day. It's just to get your body going, get your body sweating. You know, like our body now is the vehicle that's going to take us throughout our life. So we got to take care of it. Just like a car needs oil changes and maintenance, our body needs to be a well-oiled machine to take us further down the road. Okay. And that last piece is freedom. A lot of people will say freedom and they would automatically think financial freedom. And yes, that's a piece of it. But I'm also looking at, what do I need to break free from in my mind? What areas or where else do I need freedom in my life? Maybe it's a bad habit. Maybe it's negative self-talk, limiting beliefs. Where do you need to break freedom from? I believe when you can answer all four of those and you have a balance of all four of those, that's when you start to build that ideal life that you want. So I want you guys to go back. If you didn't get to listen to the previous episodes, go back and listen to them. But here's the thing. If you're going to re-listen, or even if you're listening for the first time, I want you to listen with an open mind, with open ears. I don't want you to listen with the intention that I already know that, or I've already heard that, or I've already done that. I want you to re-listen and be open. Because there's this thing in our brains called the reticular activating system, right? Ed Milet, one of my mentors, talks about it a lot. And it's this concept of we see what our minds are focused on. So, an example that Ed uses all the time. If you are out there, you're trying to buy a blue van, like you're on the market and you're looking to buy a blue van, all of a sudden you start to notice all these different blue vans driving around. And it's not like all of a sudden like it's not like all of a sudden they increase productions on blue vans. It's just because our mind is so focused on it, that's what we see out in the world. And I guarantee you, and this happens to me a lot, I'll read a book, I'll listen to a podcast, I'll take something in and 1 year, and then the next year I'll re-listen to it or reread it, and I'll feel like I've never heard it, I've never read it before. It's because when I first heard it, my mind was looking for one thing, and when I read it again, my mind was looking for something else. Same concept, same content, I should say. Same podcast, same book, but my mind was looking for different answers. So I want you to go back and re-listen to these episodes with an open mind. And I guarantee you're going to hear something that you didn't hear before. You're going to hear something that you missed earlier because you were so focused on the first thing that you heard. You're like, whoa, that's actually really good. And then, when you're done listening, if you've listened to all three and you want to listen to them again, great. If not, and you've already listened to them, what can you apply that you haven't yet? What lesson should you be applying to your life now that you haven't yet? What'd you learn from Jaywalk? What'd you learn from Tim? What'd you learn from Rhino that you haven't been applying yet? These are the questions that you need to continue to ask yourself, because this is how you grow. This is how you evolve as a person. And here's a huge hint. You want to grow a brand? This is how you grow your brand. Some of you are like, what? And some of you are like, oh, dang. But go back and listen with an open mind. Have the intention that you will learn something. You don't know what it is yet, but you will learn something. When you come into these episodes and you have that intention that you're going to hear something that's going to give you that idea, that's going to give you that nugget that you need to further your business, to further your brand, to get closer to your goals, that is how you start to grow. Have the intention that you will grow, that you will listen, and that you will win. All right, so I know this is a lot shorter than the last previous episodes, but again, this is our opportunity to go back, dissect some of the lessons that we've been learning from the last few episodes, and go into some concepts that I have with my one-on-one clients that I want to share with you guys. All right, so I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your support. I know we're having issues with the whole leaving reviews on Apple, iTunes, whatever, but we will figure it out. I'm not sweating it. It'll happen when it happens. If you are able to leave a review, please go leave us a 5-star review, and I would love to talk to you guys soon. Have a great Monday. I'll see you guys next week. And next week, before I forget, next week, we have a real good friend of mine, Carlo Valdez. He is on the U.S. Olympian bobsled team, and we're going to be talking about peak performance and how to create a peak performing lifestyle. You don't want to miss this. Carlo is an awesome man, and I'm excited to share his story with you guys next Monday. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. I'll see you later. Thanks. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope that you enjoyed the show. Make sure you follow me at angeloliloc.com. That's ANGELOLILOC. You'll receive our weekly newsletters, any updates, any events, giveaways, all that kind of stuff every week straight to your inbox. All right, we want to make sure that it's easy and convenient for you. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you.